right, so there's this other video, this beautiful lady on the right hand side. Her name is Tabitha Brown. My wife and I discovered her on a show that we really love to watch on the OWNS network, I think. It's called Black Love, right? And the story is quite interesting. And so basically she recorded this video for Wendy Williams, who is also a lady, a talk show host here in New York City. I think she's syndicated across the nation. Everybody knows who Wendy Williams is. And she has some interesting things to say about Tabitha's marriage. And I thought it was interesting on how she responded to Wendy Williams. The reason why I thought it was interesting is because I think it's one of the most difficult things for human beings to do, to stay centered, to stay in your core, to stay in a place of grace, right? It's very difficult because we all get caught up in our emotions. If somebody attacks something that you really care about, it's very difficult for you to pretend like that didn't affect you, right? And then there's one angle to it. Are you pretending? Are you being honest by showing grace? My brother will call it you're in your kumbaya or something like that. Like, let's not be kumbaya about this, right? What is right, and what is wrong. And I have news for you. What is right is not always right, and what is wrong is not always wrong. This is real life, okay? Life that we live in, you and I that we live in, is vicious, okay? It's a game. I always tell people it's a game. It's not a joke. It's a game you need to learn how to play, okay? And if you don't think it's a game, everything should be according to how good your character is, which I believe in character, in good character. I believe in integrity, but I also understand that anything in life, including water, can be bastardized, right? It can come in at the wrong timing, okay? It can come in from a blind spot, right? You can have a massive blind spot behind you while you're busy playing the game of I need to be holy all the time. And your sense of holiness can be quite, how do I say this? Out of order, So there's a time and place for everything. And I think that Tabitha really, really brought some grace into this conversation. What happened was very simple. She retired her husband from 15 years career as a cop. She retired him and brought him home. Why? Because, if you look at our channel right now, she has she has 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. So she's done very well for herself. Same thing, she has a huge followership on TikTok as well. I think she's a chef, she's an actress or something like that. But she's done well for herself in the past few years. And so she decided that they've made enough money, or she's made enough money according to Wendy Williams. So she decided to retire. So Wendy Williams had some interesting, opinion about that. Things to the effect of she could see something go wrong with that relationship with time. And a lot of time when we talk, we're speaking from our experiences, good or bad, right? Some of us are self-aware about that, and we try to mitigate against that. There are times that it's okay to speak from your experience. So if we're having a conversation about should you ever retire a man or not, right? As a woman, right? In a society where men can feel intimidated or feel emasculated eventually, and it's kind of nonsense talks that you see on Clubhouse and stuff, right? Should you ever do that, right? Your opinion is probably going to be driven by your experiences or some kind of stories that you've heard that you bought into, right? So some of us are self-aware about that. We try to mitigate against. Even at that, we're still flawed. Sometimes it just comes out because the truth always comes out in time, right? The truth is always a function of time. It's not what you say. It's not how this moment is. The truth is always a function of time. No matter how honest you think you are, the truth is always a function of time. In time, I'll be able to tell if that was truthful or if that was a lie. Okay? So Wendy Williams spoke from experience because she experienced a terrible situation in recent years where she went through a nasty public divorce with ex-husband who is now remarried to somebody else. And the ex-husband was basically a supporting system of her career. And again, I always tell people, the meanings you attach to words, right? People are very quick to pull out the dictionary. What does the word really mean in real life? And I tell them the dictionary meaning is bullshit for the most part. It's basically how we use the words in society that matters, and more importantly, is how the person you're having a conversation with, the involved party, is how they interpret a word that matters. Okay, how they interpret the word is what matters. Okay, just because the most accurate dictionary meaning does not make you go scot-free from the fact that there's an effective relationship, and you have to be aware that this person is going to interpret this word in a certain way, and I need to pay attention. So I'm all over the place a little bit, pardon me. Here's what I'm trying to get at. Wendy Williams had an opinion about this lady's lives, and the outlook on that situation was basically, it was too obvious that it came from her personal experience, which wasn't our experience wasn't a pleasant one, okay, with her ex-husband, according to her. So naturally, we all need to be aware about this. If you have some terrible situations that's happened in your life, it's very important that you go through healing. Because if you don't go through healing, you're going to reflect your personal situation, your personal outlook. You're going to reflect on everybody, every situation you see. If you've had a narcissist husband or father, every man you see, every little behavior, human behavior of insecurity will come off as narcissism to you, right? Every little human behavior of selfishness, which is not necessarily pleasant either, will come off as, oh, that's a narcissist. Make sure he's diagnosed. Make sure you start talking that way. And when you move that way, you're carrying that negative energy into every relationship. It's going to hurt you. That's precisely how you're going to create suffering for yourself. Because if this world was that terrible, we all would just be in a very, very terrible place. And I have good news for you. A lot of people are enjoying relationships. A lot of people are enjoying marriages. A lot of people are enjoying their business relationships. A lot of people are making good money over a stretched long period of time. A lot of people have a structured life. And none of those people are the natural. They didn't fall out of the skies. Okay, it's how they move. A lot of factors is not necessary because they know how to do better, but a lot is exactly that. A lot of it is how they move, right? And if you're in a terrible place, which is okay, we've all been through a terrible place, right? You really need to sit down with a therapy or watch enough YouTube videos, believe it or not, if you can't afford therapy, YouTube videos, depending on what you're subscribed to. If you watch toxic stuff all day long, I can't help you, right? You can't help yourself. But there are some really, really good YouTube channel. I would say Hearts is a good one because of what I don't follow her like that. I don't follow, as you can see, I'm not subscribed because I don't think what she covers for the most part is what I'm interested in. But the way she spoke in this video, you could tell that this is a person that has gone through healing. And she had all the smoke for Wendy Williams in such a positive way. And I would say go watch the video, right? She talked about, well, their marriage is a function of time, 23 years. Some people say, yeah, but people divorce after 23 years. Again, that's your outlook. The fact that you will go straight to that possibility, yes, it's still a possibility, right? It's basically you reflecting on what you see for the most part. This is your own story or somebody in your life story that you're reflecting on her. She's not in that space and she may never get into that space. And the idea that we assume that anything that looks positive must always have maybe it's not as good as they say. You have people that see couples on the internet, they post them and they're very quick to say, oh yeah, everybody, they just post the nicest picture. Well, it is true. It is actually true. People put their highlights out there. But if this is the first thing that comes to mind when you see a very good a couple that look good together and they are showing some affection in the picture, if the first thing that goes to your mind is how terrible it could be, possibly, well, that says more about you than it says about them. Just awareness. That's all I'm doing here. Just bringing some awareness into the situation. But we all have to be very careful, all of us, including me, including what I'm saying right now. I'm speaking from a place of outlook, right? And from a specific outlook, and I can only see 180 degree at any point in time. But there's a big ass 180 degree behind me that I don't get to see. And I need to learn how to listen. That's why I love that I skip the actual video. I go in the comment and see what people are saying. So let me see what 3 comments says here before I move on. In the simplest terms, hurt people, but it takes a servant of God to lead them to Him for true healing. God bless our sister Wendy. That's actually what she said in the video. Even though she came for something she cares about, which is her marriage, she said, God bless you, Wendy. I mean, I know that sounds fake to some people, but there's a reason why that sounds fake to you. And that's precisely what I'm talking about. Not you, but you, right? I don't think this was meant for just Wendy, but for all of us women. This was some genuine big sister advice, and I thank you, big sis. Very good one, right? This is how people's skin ages when they are unproblematic. Skin looking like glass. It does have an effect on how you look. Your outlook on life, right? Does have an effect on how you show up. Literally, from a physical standpoint in life. You'll be shining, and then, of course, haters always have something interesting to say about that. It's interesting, right? Yeah.